So could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Sam Agutu. I'm the CEO and of Changamka Microhealth. We run a Microhealth organization in Nairobi, Kenya.
Excellent. So how can the youth get involved and make an impact in the world of development?
That's a really good question. Now, one thing that the youth must realize that and we say this for everybody, that it all comes from empowerment, right? And that, so long as one feels sufficiently empowered, that they can make a difference. We have seen it in Kenya, in that, by ensuring that people are able to do something for themselves, using, for example, mobile money to develop business models. I mean, we have shoe shiners whose businesses have expanded 10 times over the last 3 years, just because they've adopted, mobile money, and that, they can receive payments and make payments using mobile money. We've seen in the area of health and education that, if people, have confidence, the youth have confidence, and they're given some direction, and they have role models to look upon, then they can change the world. Yeah.
Great. So now, when did you know that you wanted to work in development? How did you come across that career path?
Well, it took me a while. I was in formal employment for several years. But in fact, I'm somewhere between development and social entrepreneurship, in that I believe that whatever, I had been involved in doing regular business, going to the office every single day and doing the same routine thing. But I realized that in terms of impact, I wasn't impacting very many people. And so I then got into this line of business to see how to, that I was prepared to make small margins out of every sales transaction or every service that I deliver, but to impact more people. So it is important that one of the biggest drivers of change is entrepreneurship. So it's not about dishing money out to people, but it is about empowering them to make money for themselves. Yeah.
So now, what were you doing at age 20?
Actually, at age 20, I just I was in college. I was in college at age 20. I was at the University of Nairobi, where I graduated with an accounting degree, before starting to work as an auditor, and I worked in insurance and some of those other and other fields. I was in advertising at one time. But one thing that my career path shows me is that you can't get it right. It's not that if you're 25 and you haven't quite settled, that's okay. Yeah, because it's a long journey. In fact, I think it was only in my 40s that I then started getting a much clearer picture of what I wanted to do. I'm not suggesting that the youth should wait until the 40s to do it, but that there are people who get quite restless when they find that they're not very sure what to do. But I think, like I said earlier, so long as there is there's the will, and that society actually produces enough role models and enough opportunities, then it's possible, even at 25 or at 35 or even at 40, some people do make drastic career changes at 50. So, it's possible. It can be done.
Great.
Yeah.
And so now, do you have any advice that you would like to leave the youth with, or teenagers that will be watching this video?
Well, I think, for me, the biggest thing that one needs is discipline. Discipline is a very, depending on how you look at it, it's a very broad term, but that one needs a critical amount of personal discipline in the way that they conduct their own affairs, in what you do with your life, in what you eat, in how you exercise, in and spiritually too. Yeah, that everybody needs to be able to have a certain belief, right? It's very sad. There are many situations where people just go through life without having any spiritual guidance. Now that has helped me, and that it means that there are very clear lines between what is right and what is wrong, what can be done and what cannot be done, in that case, it then also develops a certain sense of responsibility, and here, discipline, is something that I look at as a two-way thing. For example, discipline by the individuals, by the individual themselves, like I said, but also, by parents, all right, and by society. It's very, it's difficult to expect, a parent who is indisciplined in the way they run their lives, and what they eat, what they drink, what their social life is, to expect to then have, kids who, who will not, follow them. So I think, the whole thing is that, and then the other thing is education. Yeah? It's critical. I mean, I don't know, I shouldn't even be emphasizing this, but that, if you don't get a certain level of education, then it's pretty tough out there. That limits, how far you can go. And there are enough opportunities, for people to further themselves, intellectually. Right? So I think discipline and, a strong, spiritual grounding.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice talking to you too. Bye.
Awesome. Really good. I can feel